I just pull my dick
What?
out. Oh, Hasan.
Hassan's texting. See how it is.
Nah, bro, he's already disengaged from the chat, and he's not even started 5 seconds ago.
Bro, this is what happens when you show up with punctuality.
Oh my God.
That's
right. All right, listen, there's an advert playing on YouTube. Is that what's happening right now?
Are you getting bare piece for this, Riz?
I'm making so much money off this live stream. I wish you guys knew.
Get that AdSense.
Mela reward you, bro.
All right.
AdSense.
Wait, it's not starting yet. Or is it skip ad?
Go on, son. Go on, skip it. Skip it, Riz.
Yes. What's going on, gang? Right, listen, we've just been on for 1 minute, but we've been chatting for about 10, 15 minutes. And already it's got very, very Asian already. Certain people were late.
Excuse me, brother. Excuse me. Can I speak?
Were late. You know what I mean? But surprisingly, certain people were early. Guys, I'll be honest with you. I told you lot 7:30, thinking obviously Asian time, you're going to turn up at 7:45. So when I turned up at 7:45, I wasn't expecting all the abuse.
No, bro.
Rizwan, you be taking a piss, son. I've got 11 kids, you know that, and they're looking for their father, and you're taking a shit, shaving your hair, and you got me waiting there like a dickhead. Hasan has got like 12 episodes of Patriot Act to do, and you're like, "Oh, how you doing, boys? You alright? Go on, how you doing?"
This is all I get, man. All I get is abuse. You're abusing me for these headphones as well.
No. Don't do that.
Like calling me Freshy Uncle. What's that about?
No, bro. Like you're about to go do cardio. Don't.
Yo, it's good to have you lads here, man. Where are you guys right now?
I'm about an hour outside of New York City.
Okay. Right. See how he keeps it proper, like vague.
Yeah,
no when man's properly made it. He's like, I'm in the New York vicinity.
I'm in the New York area.
I don't blame him, mashallah. When I see him on the front of these GQ magazines, listen, when I see him on the front of these GQ magazines, oh my God, Hasan, oh my God. He's got to stay safe, brother. He's got wife and kids and shit. You can't give that location away.
What about you guys? Where are you right now, bro?
I'm in the ends, isn't it? Listen, Hasan's living his best life. Look at brother, this one, look behind him. There is 25 air conditioning pipes. I've got a fucking shit tree here. Look at this shit tree.
Yeah, bro.
Don't pretend. That's a bonsai tree. Don't
it's
pretend
dead.
Your art. You didn't go to your arts and crafts school.
All right.
Bonsai tree. You did. That's what's going on. So you're in Coventry right now?
Of course, Tom. Where else am I going to be?
Listen. I want to take it back to when we all first met. Yeah. I want to reload a little bit till we first.
How do you and Guz know each other?
Well, Guz has actually got a funny story about that.
From the mosque.
From the mosque.
From the mosque.
See, guys, this is when your persona gets exposed. This is the end of community leader Guz Khan.
Do you know what? Actually, bro, me and you met in mad circumstances. You know.
Yeah.
Tell them,
man. How did we meet? When did we first meet?
So I wasn't at all breaking the law in and around Coventry University. Yeah, I wasn't. And I was with my brethren Barry, and it was dark, middle of the night situation, and then Rizwan over here comes running up to us, and he goes, "Hey guys, I'm about to perform over there in the Students' Union, and I was wondering if you come and support." And then Barry's like, "Oh, you're a comedian, bro, innit? You're a fucking comedian. I've seen you on the movie, man. You're a comedian." And you, bro, word for word, you said, "Do I look like a fucking comedian, bro?" And then you walked off, and I was like,
"Oh,
you're chatting shit."
Bro, wallahi billahi the last, swear to God. And so we watched you perform, and it was very entertaining. There was people all standing in a circle.
This is like 2003, 4, something. I was still at uni.
Yo, this is back in the days when we were all selling weed, bro, back then days. So like, long time ago. And then basically, you performed, and then slowly but surely, you started to build an amazing career, and we'd see you on TV, and we'd see you in movies, and you were doing your best life. And then years later, how do we bump heads again?
And then years later, bruv, I remember you DM'd me on Twitter after you did that viral clip of going to see Jurassic Park and being annoyed at Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
You wanted to boycott him because he created a dinosaur called the Pachysaurus. Which, to be honest, it is a liberty.
Focus, bro.
It is
No,
a
motherfuckers, bro.
Yeah. And I remember when you started blowing up of that and people started coming to you saying like, yo, do you want to do a show? I remember you kind of DM'd me basically kind of going like, yo, is it all Illuminati's? Kind of thing. basically, I was a bit confused because I remember you messaged me going like, bruv, are they going to make me like, you know, sacrifice virgins and shit? I was like, what do you mean, bro? He goes, but can a brother from the ends really go and do the TV thing? Or are they going to make me, you know, draw on my back?
No, bro.
I was like, didn't I meet you when you were shotting weed? 18 years ago. It's like, what the fuck has happened? So that's how we met. That's how we reconnected. Wait, how did you two meet? That's what I want to know.
Bro, we met at a show. Like, we just met off the internet, and then we came to a show. I kicked it with him and Lumber.
Okay, yes.
Yes, but also Hassan's missed that, so really important. We are part of a secret Muslim WhatsApp group.
For sure.
Yeah, wait. I heard about this. And
yeah, bro.
Yeah, I saw this comment about, because someone drew some fan art of you and Rami, and you two and Rami and Mo. And and you said, it was, I'm guessing you were joking, but you said, yeah, I've sent this to the WhatsApp group. And I was like, obviously, as if there's a WhatsApp group, innit? Because then
I just want to say I'm not admin. I'm not admin.
Hilarious.
You know what? Shout out Rami. Rami doesn't reply to my Rami's very patchy with his responses to me. Shout out Rami. Big love to Rami.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoying that WhatsApp group. You're all going to hell.
Brother, excuse me, brother.
Unless
bro,
it's cool. I just stick, the WhatsApp group with me and Mahershala is.
Oh, come on, don't do
is a
but put me in that one. Put me in that.
You know what the sad thing is, bro? It's not a group. It's just me and Mahershala. Who else we put in that group, bro? It's not a WhatsApp group.
That's how
I will liven it straight up.
And I was like, come on, bro, let me in. Come on.
Oh man. All right, so listen, you're in Cov, you're at home. Well, look, we wanted to talk about all kinds of stuff. Obviously, you want to talk about like what's going on with this crazy global pandemic. One thing I wanted to say is anyone who's watching right now on YouTube, there's a donation link for the COVID relief fund. So please do share that. Please do click on that. So we talk about that and how we're dealing with that. But there was also this, I was kind of saying a couple of weeks ago when I dropped this album, feel like the other global pandemic we're facing is hate, you know, is online hate, racist hate, intolerance, and all that kind of stuff. And so obviously we made this album, you know, The Long Goodbye, and it's a breakup album about feeling like you get dumped by the country you call home. And I just wanted to ask.
Can I ask you a question? Can I kick it off? Because you put out the album. Me and
Go ahead.
But okay. My first question is what's the feedback that you've gotten? Because The Long Goodbye, just to play devil's advocate, have people been like, well, if you don't like it here, go home?
Nah.
Like, did you deal with some of that like online hate a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's always certain kind of right-wing trolls for anything that I do. I'm sure you guys get the same thing as well. Although Hasan, you don't just get it from right-wing, you get it from everyone, bro. Respect. But I don't know, like you get some of those trolls, but to be honest, the response has been mad. It's not just a British response, it's people from America, Russia, Philippines, Hungary, India, loads of people saying, yeah, I feel like I'm going through a breakup with my country as well. I feel like I don't recognize this place anymore. I'm unwanted here. And to be honest, the feedback's been kind of amazing. I wasn't sure what it would be like, but people have been really moved by the short film and the album. I think one thing that people have said universally is that I've you know, every great brown comedian of note is on the album and there was no one missing from it. I think that's what a lot of people have said as well. They're just like, you got, you know, everyone that should have been on there was on there.
It's like everybody who mattered was on the album.
On the album, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, except for me.
Bro, be honest, man. If I got you to do an interlude on my album, it would have gone one of two ways. One, you would have either started reciting Quran, or the other one is you would have started giving us advice about how to cheat weights on meat. All right.
Listen, yeah.
Go one way or the other.
Listen, can I first of all say, bro, that me being on it or not aside, and I think you did ask me to, but I blanked you fully, bro. We're very proud of what you did, because essentially, especially in terms of the video that you released,
the short film,
as a piece of expression of how, I don't know how, and Hass, you can fill us in, but in the UK, there's been a vehement feeling of prejudice and hatred. It was for a long time Islamophobic, but post and pre-Brexit was very much a sense of even Eastern Europeans with white skin felt alienated, were being spat in the streets, were being maligned, abused in their workplaces, on their way to work, in their homes. And I think, bro, what you captured is, not to say, and I don't think you would say it yourself, that that's everyday Britain, but a swathe of people in this country who are hell-bent on this weird romantic view of nationalism, and how that weird romantic view somehow is devoid of us. When I say us, who do I mean? Children of the diaspora, brown, black skin, white immigrants, that we are the reason that they've lost this sense of nostalgic, I'm a Brit, I want to be a Brit. Is that kind of the sense that you were going for in the video?
Yeah, I guess so, man. It was exactly that. It's really well articulated. I mean, I feel like a lot of time we talk about this on a kind of political level, on a debate level. You know, people write columns about it, there's news stories and pundits. We don't really explore this on an emotional level. And I kind of feel like, well, what's our role as artists is to kind of talk about it on an emotional level. And really the way it feels is it feels like heartbreak. And the reason it feels like heartbreak isn't because you don't give a shit about someone anymore. It's heartbreak if you still care about them, but you're being pushed away. It's heartbreak if you feel like that's where you belong and that's home and you're being kicked out of your home. You know what I mean? Now, I found myself certainly in rooms full of successful people, you know, Jewish, black, brown, Muslim, whatever, saying, you know what, I'm not sure if my kids should stay here. And that was true after Trump's election. That was true after Brexit. People saying, man, by the time it gets to my grandchildren's generation, will it be too late? Should we leave while we get a chance? Now, to a lot of people, that might sound crazy. That might sound alarmist. Might sound like it's overblowing the feeling. But that's honestly how I've heard people speaking. Thoughts like that have even crossed my mind in my position of privilege. And so I guess I just wanted to explore that feeling on a feelings level. It feels like you're going through a breakup, you know, anger, you know, shock, denial, bargaining. Those like 7 stages of grief almost.
Right.
So I wanted to look at it on that level. But I mean, Hasan, did you feel that as well a little bit? I mean, we've been talking a bit about Brexit, but after Trump and stuff, did you start feeling like, shit, I got to go to Canada? Or what will it be like for my kids if it's going this way now? Because it's
the real macro take for me is more of trying to decipher where do I really belong, right? And it's kind of weird, right? If we go back to the motherland, they'll let us know, yo, you're not from here, right? I mean, if you've been back home, they tell me all the time when I go back to Delhi, I'm an NRI. So if I come here, you got that feeling of you're wearing an away jersey. You go to India, even like the commentary I've made about everything going on in politics over there, people are like, well, you're not from here, you can't comment on it. So the larger take for me is, well, what is it then? And then the kind of devil's advocate argument is, there's this weird thing where quite literally, you and I, we live in the empire.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So if you don't like it, why do we live in the empire?
Yeah.
Bro, about artistic, we criticize the empire. But bro, like the property that we bought is in the empire.
It is, but does that mean that you can't criticize something that isn't yours? Does that mean you can't criticize? It's only when you care about your friend that you tell your friend, you know what, bro, I don't think you're going down the right path. It's, you know, again, heartbreak is, if I didn't care about my country, then it wouldn't be heartbreaking to be breaking up with them. It'd be like, I'm out, let's go. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you're right. We are in this kind of strange position where we are the inheritors of both the treasure of empire, but also the scars of empire. You know what I mean? And it's people like us who are in that inside outside position of any country or of any society, is really with the artist position, is where you can kind of like have a perspective both ways.
Right.
We are conflicted. We are absolutely conflicted. And the journey of the album is to feel conflicted of like, man, being with you makes me feel good about myself.
Right.
That, you know, I'm with you and you're this big thing.
Yeah.
The empire. That makes me feel good about myself. And that's why the album tries to get to a place of like, okay, even if I don't have the acceptance of this partner, this country, even if I don't have that outside acceptance, how can I accept myself? You know, how can I have love in my life without being in love?
Yeah, that's the part of that.
Self-love, you know?
That's the part of the story within the album that I vibe with. Like if you go from, you know, you're dealing with a lot of pain on Shikwa all the way down. By the time you get to the end, you're like, whatever the circumstances are, the scenario that I was born into, for example, I was, you know, my parents are immigrants, I was born in the States. Whatever it is what it is, and I got to make the best of that situation. Now this might sound cold, but it's almost like this, man. Sometimes I feel like I'm a free agent. I'm just going to get in. You know what I mean?
You're going to what?
Wherever that passport takes me, I can tour, I can make money, I can provide for my family, I can create art wherever. So to me, that's what I've tried to put in my heart, that place of playing offense rather than defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do you feel like there's a danger in a way of like falling into a kind of victimhood mentality? You know what I mean? If we talk about the issues that we're facing, because I guess in my mind,
yeah, a little bit, bro. It's like, yo, I tore down my posters of Michael Jordan a long time ago. For real, like they ain't, you know what I mean? He's not coming to save me. Like I love wearing the shoes and all that stuff. So that idea of putting all my chips forward on an athlete or a politician, this God complex that we give a lot of people, I gave that up a long time ago.
You know, I think what's important for
his bodyguard body slammed me in Vegas. That's not because of that, but
you know what I think is important to remember though is that first and foremost, all of us sat here on this chat right now, we are all in a privileged position, even though we are children of the diaspora, even though I know definitely for myself, still very much regard myself as a working class blue collar guy. As it currently stands, I have the ability to in some way change my circumstances. I think this is a bigger issue.
Yo, BBC 3 still keeps you working class?
Say again,
BBC 3 got you working class? That's working class in UK?
Bro, look at the bonsai tree behind him, bro. He's got bonsai trees now, bro. What are you talking about?
Man, with that bonsai tree money, you know. Now, listen, the thing is, it's very important for us in this conversation to remember the kids who are sat in impoverished working class areas as minorities who have no point of movement.
And not even just as minorities. Like this is the thing. I mean, the existence of just because we occupy positions of privilege, and just because there might be white kids who are underprivileged, doesn't mean that it's not incumbent on all of us to still talk about racism and class discrimination. It is. Do you know what I mean? So like, yes, we are in a position of privilege. Now, what do you do with that privilege? Do you either look at that and say, yep, great, I'm in a position of privilege. That's great. Racism exists, you know, systemic racism exists, class discrimination exists, and but I'm okay, so I'm grateful and I'm going to move on. Or do you use your platform, do you use your megaphone to kind of shine a light on where it should go? And that's something that you two have consistently done, which I really admire about you guys. Yes, it's really important that we don't fall into a victimhood mentality because we have so much opportunity. You know what I mean? But just because things just because things could be worse doesn't mean we shouldn't continue to strive to make them better. You know what I mean? And what I'm finding is actually this album came from a personal place for me, but it's actually as I said, it's people from India to Russia to the Philippines,
Yeah.
they're feeling this. So I think that there is actually just a big shift happening right now where a lot of countries are moving into this kind of slightly more closed-minded mentality. You know what I mean? Outsiders get out, foreigners get out. And actually what I'm worried about is with Corona and stuff, how is that gonna affect that narrative? Are we going to a world of closed borders and governments with sweeping powers? You know, is that going to increase actually? So I do think that, yes, you should always be mindful of the privilege you occupy. Yes, you should always be grateful for that. Yes, you should also try and share that and redistribute that to people who don't have that privilege. But we should always call out bullshit. You know what I mean? Just because we've done okay and we've had opportunities doesn't mean we shouldn't say, hey, this situation over here.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's what you do, Hasan, man. Bro, and we talk about passport, bro. You can't travel anywhere anymore.
I know, bro.
Banned from India, banned from Saudi, banned from the Supreme store.
I know.
I love the fact that Hasan's out here going, look, man, we've got privilege. We can travel. Bruv, you're on a no-fly list. Look at the size of Guz's beard. You're the one getting frisked, bro. Your name's setting off alarms.
No.
What's the deal with that, bro? Tell us about some of the backlash. I want to know where you get the balls from, bro. Because you must honestly have some second thoughts.
That's all right. So yes, I've had a lot of second thoughts. Yes, there's certain episodes that we've done where it took a big toll personally, spiritually, a lot of that stuff. But for me, again, the whole goal of comedy is to be as honest as possible. And I've found that our show has legitimacy when I'm willing to indict my own community before I indict the US government. Like our first 2 episodes of Patriot Act, the first 2 things that I went after was affirmative action, which is Asian people trying to shut down affirmative action for Blacks, right? And other minority groups of color. And the second was Saudi Arabia. So I went after my ethnic background and my spiritual background to be like, yo, things aren't the way they're supposed to be. And I think that gave us legitimacy of like, hey, he's not going to toe certain lines. Do you know what I mean? He's going to go after. And also, you know this as an artist, the only things that are worth making should scare you a little bit.
Yeah, man.
The big thing that I've had to question and ask within myself is, are you doing this for the right reason? Are you doing the right thing for the right reason? Are you doing it for the likes and for the gram?
Yeah.
How do you wrestle?
Because there's a lot of points that you get off of that.
It's true. It's true, man.
Rack them up, bro. You can rack them up. So you have to ask yourself, are you doing this for the right reason? Because also, my family has to live with the consequences of these punchlines. And that shit lasts way longer than what happens when you get popping on the news feed for a day.
Yeah.
Bro, honest question, Has. Your mom and dad, who are the start point of every DC on the face of the planet,
right?
What was their reaction? Have they had any specific reactions to any specific material or issues that you've addressed?
Yes, this is the philosophical question that my dad has posed to me that I don't have the answer to. His whole thing is, why are you dying on this hill? And why are you kind of being the comedic martyr for this issue that, quite frankly, nobody cares. Yeah. Nobody meaning wider Hollywood popular culture cares about. You're standing on this thing and dying on this hill.
Bro.
Why?
I feel you, man. I mean,
so the philosophical question is this, Riz, Guz, and this is a real talk thing because now I'm a father. Should you risk it all potentially and do the right thing, write that song, make that movie, say that joke where you could risk it all, even if it changes nothing?
Well, here's the thing. You don't know what it changes. You know, in the same way you say, you have to know why you're doing something, right? And I would say that if you're doing something because you think it will have an impact on your Instagram likes and career, that's stupid. But if you're doing something because you think it will have an impact on government policy and suddenly wake 100,000 people up, I think that's stupid as well. You've got to stay out of the results. Every time I get caught up in the results of I have this expectation, I have that expectation of this output, you will always be disappointed. And your assessment of whether or not that is a successful piece of work will be based on how it was received. And so what I try and do, I'm only human, so I'm constantly thinking about this and thinking about this when I shouldn't be. But what I try and do is stay out of the results and go to the process. Did it come from an honest place? Is this what's on your heart right now? Is this a thing you got to get off your chest? Is this a thing you got on the tip of your tongue that you're going to get off your mind? And if it is, then your role as an artist is to just channel that and put it out there in the world. And I hear you about the parents thing, because of course my parents say the same thing, bro. He goes, "Kaun dekhega?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
"Kaun tujhe shukar bheja hai?" You know what I mean? I don't need to be making, you know, some people find politically controversial music videos. I don't need to be making this album. God knows, independent music, like, it does not make any money. You know what I mean? I'm doing it because I kind of feel like I just have to. And if it comes from that honest place and you're like, fuck, there's something I feel it needs to be said and no one's saying it and I want to say it, fuck it, you just have to do it.
Yeah, so I vibe with that energy. That energy I vibe with. And for me, just sitting on it, just being like, yo, do I want to get up here and do another show where I dunk on Trump? Like, I could do that. That choice is there. The tape is there. I can play the tape and do jokes. That doesn't get me going.
But you know, but go on, sorry.
Let me ask you a question. I kind of built my wave through the kind of the political comedy, that kind of commentary circuit. You plugged into the indie circuit and you plugged into the machine, like capital M machine. I'm talking Disney, $350 million movie, $1 billion rollout. They're selling toys of you and fucking RIP Toys R Us. You know what I mean? Did you feel the fulfillment even when you're working through the machine or when you're doing it independently?
I mean, look, like, you all know, like, there's no satisfaction like when the ideas come from you, you formed it, you express it the way you want. That's what the music has always occupied that space for me, which is what's so amazing. What I really admire, you've got that with Patriot Act, with your stand-up material. You know, guys, you've got that with Man Like Mobeen. That's your vision. That's a full reflection of your personality. Now with acting, absolutely, I love it because there's nothing like that feeling of how it consumes you. You know what I mean? You're just in it 360. Like, it's just such an intense way of expressing yourself. And I love that, always be a part of me. But I'm also aware that, like, ultimately what I want to try and do is try and stretch culture. That's what all of us on this call, we all trying to do that in some small way, make a small contribution to do that. And I realized that actually, yes, you can stretch culture by popping up in this film and popping up in that film and leading this film and, you know, winning this, that's great. But actually, to some extent, I'm still shape-shifting. I'm still wearing different masks to fit into their boxes. You know what I mean?
Right.
And actually, the next stage, I think, for me, is to take off all the masks and to just be me and to put our stories out there, which is why I really admire what you two are doing, man. Like, I want to ask you lot something as well, though, about this idea of, like, basically career versus, like, conscience is what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And, like, guys, you know, you got like 16 kids, you know, your eldest just finished university now, mashallah, you know, and so do you guys ever weigh this thing up of, like, man, saying this thing or making this kind of work might put me in a bit of a pigeonhole, and maybe it's better to go with the Jay-Z model. You know what I mean? Is it better to go with the Will Smith model or the Spike Lee model?
Bro, I think
about
fundamentally, I think where we are at in terms of, you mentioned their stretching culture, I think we are now in a position where there are people who gravitate towards our material who are from a broad demographic. All three of us are sat here, and it's not just the man them from the block who are watching me. It's not just Desis over in the States who are watching Hasan, and it's certainly not Urdu-speaking people from Karachi who are watching what you're doing, Riz. We're in a playground. We're on a playing field where we have the ability. I know you use the term masks and switching, but in terms of what we have the capability to do, by taking this foray into the mainstream, by you being in a movie like Venom, by you being in a movie like Star Wars, I don't think you can underestimate how people consume material. The general populace will say, oh shit, blood, you're in a Star Wars thing. Yo, Riz is smashing you. I would rather you be in a mainstream movie than continue to pursue and create your art on the outside, because eventually there will be a crossover, right?
I think you need both. I think you need both. I think you always need
You
both.
need both. You have to have both.
If you're just, listen, if Hasan was just popping up on the Daily Show and he didn't go and make his own thing, it wouldn't be the same.
You need
Yeah.
both.
Like if you were just popping up on Turn Up Charlie, you know what I mean? But you didn't also have your own thing, it won't be the same. And I do feel that, like, yes, there's two ways of stretching culture. You know, one is you step into the machine, and you stretch it. And the other one is you build your own machine.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And
Bro,
that's the way you gotta, I think you always gotta have those two.
Remember when we did that panel? I don't want to say where it was or what it was about, but we did that panel. And you went up there and you gave this empowering speech about Islamophobia and xenophobia, the same talking points that you mentioned at the beginning of this conversation. And I remember it moving so many people, but I look around and everybody kind of was like, yeah, bro, I don't know how to help you. I wouldn't even know how to begin to help you. And these are people that want to help. And that's when I realized, I was like, man, I just got to link up with Riz and Guz, and we got to make our own thing. Because even the people in the capital M machine, come on, man, how are they going to help? How do they actually know the actionable steps if they're not from the community where they don't really understand what it is?
Well, yeah. I think.
Can I talk some real shit, right? I off the back of what you just said there, Hasan, right? In terms of we as individuals can speak truth to power, which is essentially all we have. As individuals, we can speak truth to power, make that choice, and whatever the results and the consequences of these actions are, it is what it is. But I think you made something very important there, bro. And that point was that when Riz did, I wasn't there, but I can imagine what it's like. And people were like, yo, shit, I don't know how to help you. I just came back from the States and I spoke with many people in different meetings, different settings. And when I brought up lists of who I define as great artists, great innovators, great creators who make social commentary in their work, bro, a lot of the conversations that I had boiled down to, yeah, but is that profitable? Is that kind of voice, is that kind of action profitable? And I think a lot of people, you know, ask us, we're on the inside of the industry, we get to see how it works slightly more than the outside world, but it's important for us to mention that, yo, this shit's not easy. It's not easy for Hasan to go and make an episode of Patriot Act and like there's a palpable feeling in the industry, Hollywood, the UK, like, oh yeah, we want that. It's not like that.
But listen, I'm going to throw to the comments a little bit as well. And it says, look, we live in a world where Black Panther and Crazy Rich Asians happened. So yeah, it is profitable. You know, I want to see crazy rich Muslims. You know, I want to see crazy rich Salafis starring Guz Khan. Do you know what I mean? Just out there in these streets. I want to see that. You know, look at what Rami's done. You know, amazing. He just won a Golden Globe for that. You know, him and Muhammad are making stuff together. Hasan's out there. So yeah, I think it is about articulating this voice. And I think the thing is that I loved Black Panther. I loved Crazy Rich Asians. And I think a lot of the time people can feel like, man, if I make work that's really about me and my point of view, will it be too niche? I felt like that for a long time. I felt like that. You know, I saw the stuff that I was making. It was like us kind of stuff. Even like Four Lions, it didn't do anything in the box office. It took 10 years for people to really start recognizing that film. You know,
bro,
is it gonna be
what you guys and Chris did with that movie is still the benchmark of what can be achieved artistically.
Bro, the premise of that.
Close.
Wait, I just got to quickly say, Guz isn't really a Salafi because the comments are like, "Wow, Riz, Guz is Salafi." Guz sells too many drugs to still be a Salafi. Listen, that ain't a bonsai tree. Listen, but I do think, people can start to think, man, am I going to be niche? Am I going to be niche? And one of the bars I put in Can I Live is, my people ain't niche. They're the niche for his lamp, you know, from that ayah, you know, and it's this idea of like, actually, when you believe that your own point of view matters, when you believe that your own story matters, people will come and find something beautiful in it. I can find something beautiful in Black Panther. I can find something, even though unfortunately Black Panther, the only representation of Muslims in that is terrorists. But we're gonna slide over that. It was other good things in that film. You know, but
there was though, innit?
it was, bro.
There was blood. We can't go front.
No,
there was.
It broke my heart. It broke my heart, bro.
It was heartbreaking, man. Hey, listen, guys. I want to ask you something, man. Talk to me about, you have, you've decided to make this show, and you made it in your ends. Another one of the central questions of the album is this thing: where you from? Right?
Yeah.
There's a track in the middle of the album. It says, "Where you from?" And what I say in the end is, my tribe is a quest, right? Actually, the place that I belong is the place of searching. My tribe is a quest to a land that was lost to us, and its name is dignity. So in a way, that's kind of where I'm from, is this no man's land. By the way, Guz just smiling. He's like, shit, I should have listened to this album before the chat. Literally,
now listen, bro. You know what?
Couldn't give less of a shit. Hasn't heard a single track on this album.
Yo, let me tell you.
Literally doesn't care.
Yo, Guz.
Listen, bro.
I've
got dreams as well. Okay,
he's got 15 kids, man. He's got no time. He's got 12 kids.
Yo, Guz, even if you don't like spoken word rap, you know what I'm saying? I think the track that you'll love is Any Day. That's a banger, bro.
Yes, listen, guys.
You don't want to listen to the lyrics. By the way, shout out to Jay Sean. You got Jay Sean on that.
Yeah, I've got Jay Sean. I just filmed a little something with him today, man.
That's
through Skype. Jay Sean.
Shit, bro.
Jay Sean and Hasan. Don't tell the truth. Jay Sean and Hasan look like brothers. They even got the same hairstyle. Look, man. Jay Sean and Hasan look like brothers.
They're sexy, pretty Asian guys, isn't it? Like, they all got the same vibe.
Jukaz, meanwhile, just looking extra cute, putting chopstick dimples in his. He goes, sexy, cute Asian guys.
No, do you know what, bro? Look, I'll be completely transparent. Yeah, I used to worry. So let me tell you, I've been in this industry the least amount of time comparatively to you two. Yeah, but when I used to see,
don't forget it, right?
When I used to see Riz spit, I'll name another couple of British MCs who I love and adore. People like Kareem Dennis, aka Loki. People like Akala. I used to be annoyed to the point that I can't even explain to you, because I was like, the individuals that have the ability to speak truth to power, have a message, but the industry doesn't want to know them. Riz, you've been an MC for a long time. Is that changing? Will that ever change?
Listen, the way that I'm doing it is that I have my career where I earn my living, and that's film. And then I have music, which is a place where I can just say what I want, make it how I like. And it's taken me a very, very long time to get to a point where Sweatshop Boys are playing Coachella and we've got all these tours going everywhere. It's taken a long time. And most musicians would not be able to survive that long in the wilderness, just making stuff and having a small following with people like, every now and again when someone's heard your music, you're like, oh, okay, safe. Yeah. It's got around there, but it's never broken through, because I can pay the bills another way. I can stick around doing it for long enough that now it's at the point where it's like, boom, we'll put on some cool stuff. And even then, it's not at a level where it would be my main income. So I do think it is a little bit about, when we talk about that art versus career thing, you need to find that balance some way, By the way, I just want to let you know that bare people in the comments are saying that we should make a film together.
What? Wonder where are these comments? I can't even see them.
Uncle over here does not know how to use YouTube. I love it.
I don't even need to. We've already talked about
it. Uncle over here.
To me, that.
That's, all right, ladies and gents. If you want to see us three do a film together, the Three Musketeers flex, put it in the comments. I want Guzzy Bear. I want the bear emojis. I want a Balu emoji for Guzzy Bear. All right, I want to see bear. I want bear bears. Bear bears if you care about the bears. Listen, I want to.
Oh my God! Freestyling on the spot. Hasan, did you hear that, bro? Man was just bears if you cares with the 2 times squares. Oh my God.
Yo, I was gonna ask you something, and then I completely. Oh wow, we haven't really had. Oh, we
What's
just.
that?
Yeah, we're getting some comments. People are on it. Yes to the film. They say make it a trilogy. Brah. Yes, we've got bear emoji. There we go. Listen, I want to ask you something. Where are you from? Because that's what I was talking about with the album thing and this, that, and the other. Where are you from? Guz, what is the deal with how is it in the end? I mean, because I know that you film in the ends that you're from. You've probably given like apprenticeships and work experience to people from the ends. What are you seeing the impact of what you're doing? And because I know, you know, you're from Coventry, it's near Birmingham, and it's like, you know, there's a lot of deprivation there. You know, so tell me about that. Have you seen?
Thank you for starting there, Riz. Fucking hell, thank you very much, mate. We've got parts, we've got running water here, camp. All right, it's not that bad. Fucking hell. Listen, Riz, what's very important is you made a very good point, and that is, what does it mean to the people who are in the West Midlands, where I'm from, that they have a show like Man Like Moby? So I stumbled into the industry, and when I was given the opportunity to make a TV show, Qasam, Khudadi, I thought that it was an accident. How are they going to let man like me come and create content?
Yeah, I remember, bro. You DM'd me saying, "Are they Illuminati?" And I was like,
"Yeah, honestly, man,
needs to stop smoking. Needs to stop smoking weed and watching YouTube conspiracy videos."
But I thought I was going to have to finger John Major's bumhole or something. I didn't know what he fucking wanted. So look, at the end of the day, I was there thinking this is an accident. So let's use this to our advantage. I'll say all of the things I want to say. I'll make all of the social commentary that I want to make, and then I'll go back to teaching. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you know them ones where it's like, what, they've let me in the sweet shop for a minute, just grab what you can, and pack me out in a minute. Oh, to be honest, that's also the attitude that I had when I started kind of being vocal. Because you're always like, well, they're going to kick you out any second.
They're going to kick you out anyway.
Or you just do it like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah. And so when I picked...
That's actually an advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, bro, can I also say, and there's going to be a lot of people who are fans of you guys, who've seen what I've done, this feeling of, I don't know whether it's like an imposter complex or whatever it is, that's still very much alive within me. I don't walk out on stage or onto a film set and think, oh, I was meant to be here, guys. I'm destined for this. I'm like, raw. Very quickly, when they figure out who I really am and what I really stand for, blood, it's back to the block for us.
But let me tell you something. By the way,
you're funny. You know you're nice. You know you're nice.
LOL, poor John Major is what I'm getting here. Let Hasan speak. Hasan, you're going to say something.
Sorry, Hasan, go on.
I was saying, Guz, you know you're nice. You know you're naturally funny. You know you have a gift. You know that.
But the imposter syndrome is real. The imposter syndrome is real. And honestly, like that imposter syndrome for us, but also think about women of color, brown women. And I mean, you know, there was a comment earlier on, can you speak about how it's so much harder for them, like, for so many obstacles, internal community, you know, and much harder. And that's something that I want to think about. And we got to all think about is how we can kind of open doors and support that amazing talent that's out there, you know, from a female perspective as well. But one thing I wanted to say is this whole imposter syndrome, which will be real for them, it's real for us even. How do you guys deal with that? Because sometimes people ask me, how do you believe in yourself? And I just tell them, I don't. I'm constantly questioning my output and like my place in this.
Really?
I find it's actually more helpful.
Right, I'm going to give you a scenario. You tell me honestly what's going through your head. You're on set. You're doing the first take of a poignant scene. In the night of, you feel like you're fucking up?
Bro, I mean, everyone that I have worked with at the highest levels has, to some extent, this syndrome of like, that was shit, I don't know what I'm doing. And that's what keeps you on your toes, keeps you critical. Now, what I've realized over the years is you've got to keep that in check, because if you're too self-critical, you destroy your confidence, you block your instinct, you get in your head. But everyone, when I'm on set with Joaquin Phoenix, he's constantly just like, he thinks he's fucking up every take. He doesn't want to know. You know, I've worked with Jacques Audiard, I've worked with Gyllenhaal, all these people, bro, like the most experienced people, they're like to question it. Now, some days you get into a flow, you feel it, and you're not thinking, you question it, and you know the zone, and you get into it. But I just want to say one thing about the imposter thing, which is the imposter syndrome both gives you an edge because of what you're saying. It gives you an edge because you're like, you know what? They're going to dash me out anyway. So fuck it. I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to go all out, mask off. So that's an advantage. It's also an advantage because then you work harder. But where it's a disadvantage is where you start questioning your place, to your right to be there. Because on some level, you will bite your tongue. You will shrink a bit taller. You won't be your full self. And to be honest, that confidence, that feeling like I'm not an imposter, you can't get that as an individual. That comes from community. That comes from seeing other people like you in the room. That comes from seeing other people like you up there doing it. That's what makes you go, oh shit, I'm not an imposter. Fuck it, I'm going mask off from day one. Do you know what I mean? And that's when you make the amazing art. That's my take on that.
What was a moment where you felt that, where you felt the gas in your tank?
It goes back and forth the whole time. When the days I don't believe in myself.
When you felt like you were in your bag.
No. The days I don't believe in myself, I try and believe in a mission bigger than me. I try and believe in something bigger than and other than myself. I know Guz for you is spirituality. I know Hasan for you it's supreme. You know, for me, it's this thing of like, on you just believe in something that I might not be good enough, but let me try and serve this mission to do X, Y, Z. And that gets me through those days. But every day I doubt myself, bro. All the best people I've worked with doubt themselves. Do you not, Hasan? Do you not kind of like question your ability and your output? He's like, nah.
There's moments where I'm in a funk. I don't feel it. And to me, that's the toughest challenge of doing anything that's creative. The resiliency to push through that. And then there's moments where you hit a creative flow and you just like, you feel like Neo in the Matrix. You see the whole thing. You go on a huge joke run and it breaks the whole thing open. There's moments. That's, to me, like in terms of my day-to-day battle, Monday through Friday, it's shortening the window between, hey, I'm really frustrated, this script isn't working, this joke isn't working, to, it's all just kind of pouring out of me. It's making that window smaller. That's really what I think my mission is to be able to get through that.
Yeah, it's just, it keeps coming up. The demons keep coming up, but you just fight your way through it.
But your ability to tap into it faster.
I want to ask something. So we've gotten to this idea now of self-belief, right? Guz, meanwhile, just checking his fucking phone, checking if his Deliveroo's got, bruv. You shouldn't be Deliveroo's right now.
Bro, you know what I want to say though, like on a real level, something I don't know whether you guys feel the same thing, but
Wait, just stop a minute, bro. What are those things in your hand, bro?
Yeah, what is it?
You've got shiny pink metal chopsticks in your hand.
What is it? Yeah.
Now they're straws, son. Look, paper straws. I'm taking care of the environment. You know what I wanted to say in terms of the way that I feel. I actually don't feel as much pressure. I take a bit of a double fuck you mentality when I'm around people who aren't like me, from the same social class, and that can be white, black, and Asian. When people aren't working class, I tend to have a bit of a, I don't respect your authority situation anyway. I think I feel the most pressure creatively, morally, spiritually, from this bracket that I would term as our own. So,
bruv, the hate that you get from your own people is like nothing, and it hurts the most as well.
No, bro. So look, we've joked around about certain choices that we've made, whether it's in movies or scripts or whatever it is. But there are people out there that we are busting a gut to represent. We are busting a gut to try and give a voice to, because that's who we care about. Ultimately, I'm going to KO one day, so are you, so are Has, right? So when we have a catalogue of work that people who are like us, and people can define that however they want. That can be a class, that can be race, that can be faith, whatever you like. Bro, sometimes the biggest stumbling block is you post a photograph stood with Charlize Theron, and there are people like, oh, brother, I mean, I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think it's appropriate.
I know that was you from a ghost account, bro.
Yeah, I
know that was you. I know Guz's ghost trolling accounts, bro. I know what they are. And there's such giveaways. There's such giveaways because he's got a certain turn of phrase in it, and you know, that's Guz trolling again.
Guz got a burner.
But to be real, like this representing people thing, all right, I thought like, to begin with, you're like, you know, you want the world to know about you. Yo, I'm in this bitch. Come on, look, pay some attention to me. Then when people are paying attention to me, you're like, man, it's got to be for a bigger reason. I'm representing my people. I'm representing, you know, my people, and you define that how you want. To me, my people is people with the same values as me, you know, same outlook as me, you know,
Yeah.
or at least share some core kind of ideas. You know, I'm representing those people. But the point I'm getting to now is even that is a dead end, bro. You can only represent yourself. To think that you can represent 2 million British Muslims, to think that you can represent everyone who loves Supreme, Hasan, you can't do it, bro. There's too many of those people. Like, you have to, on some level, just believe that you're representing yourself and people will connect with that. Because on some level, even if you're trying to represent people and all that kind of thing,
You're going to let people down.
you're doing it for someone else. You're doing it for someone else's approval. You're doing it for their validation. And if they don't give it validation, they don't connect with it, where does that leave you? So it's hard. I believe it. You know, bro, I get trolled all the time. I've been getting trolled recently. And it's like, it's painful, man. We have to take a deep breath, step back and go, well, actually, who am I really doing this for? You know what I mean? Because,
bro, I want to say, I think what you said is 100%, but I want to, none of us are, and definitely not myself, I'm not impervious to advice, yeah? So if someone wants to come and advise me sincerely, I'll be like, okay, let me listen to it. But I think the point I was trying to make is, bro, that you then doubled up on, which I think is absolutely the case, which is we are sometimes stuck in this microcosm of you want us to represent you, but you don't want us to represent you at the same time. Do you get what I mean?
You can't do it. You got to give up on it, guys. You got to give up on it, bro. If you think you're out there representing people and the whole community is going to come up to you and be like, yes, man, bro, you'll connect with individuals when you represent yourself truly as an individual. I'm learning that now, bro, because, you know, it may feel selfish, but actually the art has to come from a very personal place. And if it doesn't, you're second guessing what will make this auntie happy,
who's your
person happy.
Riz, who's your inner circle? Who do you run stuff by? Who do you go like, all right, man, do I do this? Do I not do this?
Honestly, fewer and fewer people. Less and less people. Because I've realized that what I'm basically asking people to do is give me permission to follow my instincts. And with something like The Long Goodbye, I basically didn't really run. I played it to a couple of people, but I just kind of felt like a lot of people told me not to make it, told me they didn't like it.
Why? Who said that?
I don't know, people just thought this is a bit shit or it's a bit, you know, whatever. People just have different ideas.
Which Kutta said he was shit? Tell me which Kutta said he was shit. 2 minutes,
You're going to bring back the old guys. But what about you? What about you? You know what? I have to say, Hasan, I was really like, I felt really privileged, man, when you were inviting me to some of your shows before Patriot Act and asking me to give feedback. You know, I'm a huge fan of stand-up comedy. Like, to me, stand-up comedy, and I've seen you do your thing, guys, and I cannot wait, guys, for you to storm America with your stand-up comedy, bro. Because honestly, you're talking about just stage presence, man. Like, you and Hasan, to me, are just like people of any background, whatever. You put you on a playing field with anyone. You are like the absolute elite, I think. You've just got that natural gift. To me, stand-up comedy is the purest type of performance. You will get booed on a turn of a coin. Do you know what I mean? But
true. It's the most honest.
Who do you run your shit by?
Man, I'm very lucky that I have a very close circle of friends. You're one of it's two people. It's people that I really respect their work, where I know they're one of the fellow Padawans or Jedis that have taken swings. When you run stuff by them, they've been through so many of those wars before. They're not going to get caught up in the bullshit of @replies. They're going to give you sound advice because the decisions they've made at scale in their career are bigger than trends and forces. So people like that, right? Then the second is a close group of people that can kind of check you for my artistic blind spot. So I'm very lucky. My co-creator of the show, Prashant, I run a lot of stuff by him. And there's been moments where I've Kanye style jump on tables and go and really say it. And man, you're way more powerful if, number one, you survive this storm, because you're going in and you're talking about a third rail issue. So if you can get up there and navigate and move through a room full of vultures and still stick the landing, you will have a long career where you'll be able to strategically go at everybody that you want to go at.
Yeah, it's that having that circle, isn't it?
He tells me this all the time. Like,
Community.
you have so much raw emotion, right? Just a lot of artists do. Prashant's really good at this. He always tells me, yo, be surgical. Be surgical. Don't napalm the room. There's a moment, but you got to build to it and then deliver. I think music and comedy have that.
Yeah, I think so, because it can speak directly. I'm responding to Sana Khan over here, who makes a good point, says, we're talking about representation of brown women, and I only see 3 dudes here. Just to let you know that next week, we're going to be in conversation with Rupi Kaur and with Fatima Bhutto as well. So I totally take your point, and, you know, we got to do better at that. I want to move on to something that we were talking about before, which is, you said earlier, we can't fall a victim to a victim mentality, right? And the album Long Goodbye goes to this point by the end of the album of like self-love. And actually, even if I'm not accepted by others, I have to accept myself. That's what I've been saying to you in a way, guys. That's true of a racist country, or it's true of your community. Actually, if you're looking for the acceptance of anyone, you're fucked. You have to accept yourself first on some basic level, right?
Right.
And I want to talk a little bit about that. Because here's one thing I've been thinking. Yes, my ancestry involves trauma. It involves partition. My lived experience involved, it has trauma. It has 9/11. It has the war on terror. My DNA and part of what I do is about resistance. Yeah, it's about resisting things that I feel aren't, need to be addressed. But we're also more than that. On some level, do you just wish you didn't have to make Patriot Act? On some level, do I wish I didn't have to make The Long Goodbye in that short film? Guys, on some level, do you wish you didn't have to get up and be a spokesperson about knife crime and talk about Muslim representation? On some level, is it like, how do we get past that? Because yes, some people say to me, you know what would be more powerful, bro, than you making The Long Goodbye? Just make a really good pop hit.
Listen, there is some merit, bro. Listen, without a shadow of a doubt, I believe there is some merit to that point, okay? Based purely on the fact that your reach on a #1 charting hit. Take, for example, I think you might know the individual I'm going to say. Take Stormzy, okay? Take Stormzy, for example. Stormzy's reach is so huge in terms of the music that he makes, and he's come under a lot of flack more recently in terms of, now you're doing tunes with Ed Sheeran and them, man, you've gone soft and that. Stormzy's reach by creating that kind of music is... But then Stormzy also has the ability, because he's a real young man himself, that when he wants to say fuck the government and fuck Boris, that he can bring this platform of people who wouldn't ordinarily have been there if he was spitting Hot 24s in a grime scenario. He can bring them into his world and have this cross conversation. So yeah, bro, the people who do tell us, if you just make the...
I think it's quite unique in that, often there's that combination of an exceptional individual and exceptional moment in culture that allows someone like that to exist. You know what I mean? And that's amazing. That's a beautiful thing. I guess, yes, like ideally you can kind of play both games. You know what I mean? Be a chart topping #1 artist and a political activist. I guess, and I'm not saying that those two should be mutually exclusive, but I guess the question that I'm asking is, how do we get past do you ever feel like you don't want to have to do the work of calling out bullshit, and you just want to like make people laugh, and you just want to make a romantic comedy? Guz Khan and Emilia Clarke just riding dragons into the sunset.
Hilarious.
I like that sound.
You know what I mean?
I like the sound. Look, bro, of course, if you talk about my personal...
we got to do both.
I would love to go out on stage and tell dick jokes 55 minutes. It'd be fucking hilarious. You've been to see me do stand-up. I do love to talk about this kind of stuff. This is what I gravitate towards. However, there is a responsibility that we all have that I think is a blessing, bro. I don't think we would be the kind of artists that we are I think we might just be run-of-the-mill man then if we didn't have the trauma and the pain and the issues that we have to speak about. So I just think though.
But why does it have to be a binary thing, one or the other? Like, isn't life both of those things? It's so crazy. I'll tell you what. Even in our day-to-day life right now with COVID-19, right? Every time I open up my New York Times app, it's basically talking about how the world is ending. You know what I mean? New York hospitals are overrun. There's not enough ventilators. The world is reeling. The Dow Jones is collapsing. We are entering a great recession. It's horrible news. And I look outside right now, bro, it's a beautiful day. It's like 52 degrees. That juxtaposition is kind of crazy. Like when I took a walk this morning, I'm like, it's an incredible day. Both beauty and horror can exist at once. Those things can happen. So you can make a song and an album that describes all that trauma, and you can just make a big pop record too.
Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely, man. And
I agree.
And a lot of times the comments, this is why I'm not reading the comments. The comments will try to box you into a very binary position. Why didn't you do this one thing right now? Come on, bro. Every episode of Patriot Act can't represent everything you want it to. We're trying to make a body of work.
Yes.
Fire, bro.
They'll try to catch you.
Fire, bro. Yeah.
They'll try to catch you slipping. This one episode of Man Like Mobeen, you didn't do the thing I wanted you to do, or this choice that you made when you took this role, it didn't represent this the way I wanted it to. Bro, look at your fucking IMDb. It's like 40 plus projects. Trust me, you're building a body of work that will cover all of those things. There's going to be big popcorn movies in there. And there's going to be classics like Four Lions.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, is that thing, isn't it, about...
Bro, and I'm sorry for being mad because sometimes I get...
No, I appreciate you, bro. I love you, man. I mean, you know, this whole idea of like, how do we get past just calling out the bullshit going on and resisting it, and also just celebrate our lives? And you're right, our lives are both of that, which is why, you know, actually the part of the album where you come on, Hasan, is this moment of like, you know what? Yes, there's trauma. Yes, I am resistance, but yes, I'm more than that as well. We are also beauty, and we are also, you know, just, you know what I mean? And so to that point, you're just celebrating us experience, like when you get to it towards the end of the album, and it's when I look
at someone like Rupi, right, who makes this amazing poetry, and she has these like gorgeous shows where she's like, you know, in these beautiful dresses, and the stage is adorned in flowers. Like, to me, it feels like a celebratory moment. I'm like, this looks luxurious and beautiful and like lush and grand. And then the work is also poignant and meaningful. You know what I'm saying? When I see you and Heems were in this GQ spread where you were wearing these like really dope floral patterns with the shirts and like the dopies, which were just
like Gazman. Looked basically style ripped straight from Gazi.
But I'm like, that's just all just like, yo,
yeah,
like,
man, it's really important.
It's like it's just post Eid, like
post Eid, yeah,
like energy. You know what I mean? Just like, yo, I'm just gonna flex.
Yes, yes, we have to.
And it doesn't be more than that. It's just, yo, yeah, I'm looking super duper. It's nothing more.
Yeah, man. How do you allow your trauma and your resistance to enrich you rather than limit you? How can you kind of celebrate your story, warts and all, rather than mourn it? So yes, this idea of like, you know, when I talk about some of the fuckeries that are on the album, to me, it's not a victim narrative. It's about a journey to self-love and self-celebration, even if others might not celebrate you. Yo, guys, I want to round off by talking a little bit about this crazy moment that we're all in right now. Because one of the things that I'm realizing with COVID is, my hope is that we come out the other side of this and realize we're all just fucking human beings. And actually, in a weird way, COVID is putting identity politics into perspective for me. This feels like the alien invasion. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Suddenly make racism go away. Of course it won't. Of course, you know, he's still calling it the China virus or whatever. Of course, there's all this crazy shit. You know, it's going to open up certain divisions. But yeah, what do you think about what the world might look like on the other side of this? How are you finding hope and beauty in what's going on right now to cope? Because, you know, this is a really dark time. So yeah, just talk to me a little bit about how you feel about this moment, where it's taken us, how you're coping.
I think in the UK, in England, yesterday, it was only tokenistic, it was only symbolic, but it ties in with what Hasan was just saying about your spread, which is like, yo, just be in the moment. And it was beautiful in the moment. You look dope in the moment. But when on my street and streets all around the UK, people stepped out their front doors, they leant out the windows, and they put their hands together and they banged spoons on metal tins as a way of appreciation for the NHS and NHS staff, doctors, nurses who are dying on the front line, helping us, devoid of whether you're black, Asian, white, working class, upper class. The medical staff that we have as part of the NHS in this country, which is a system that is free for all, bro, was an incredible moment.
Whoa, that's crazy. That's crazy. By the way, in America, the fact that you just said that, that's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, for us to come together as a nation yesterday, and for people to experience that in their streets, you could see at first, there was a couple of houses to my left and right, people hadn't come out. But by the end of this 2-3 minutes of everyone clapping, shouting each other out across the road, shouting at the neighbors, I think an event like this, the coronavirus, COVID-19, it just lets people see humanity for a moment. And I, without a shadow of a doubt, think that a huge rhetoric that was used in the Brexit vote to encourage people, the xenophobia that was used in terms of immigrants and the NHS, when people who are young and healthy, and this is not just a disease that's affecting the elderly, as we can see, 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds are falling into hospital who voted to leave the European Union, not because they had the subtle nuances of whether it was better or not to, but because they had an issue with immigrants and they wanted their country back, per se. When they are being treated by Filipino nurses, Nigerian oncologists, South Asian doctors, men and women, I think it's a huge moment for individuals to look at their place and their thought processes about immigration, immigrants.
Yo, by the way, mega shout out to Filipino nurses holding it down global.
Bro,
I Filipino nurses too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, actually, Harry Kondabolu said this in a tweet the other day. Shout out Harry, which is, look at the Uber driver who's still going to work. Look at the grocery store checkout clerk who's keeping you fed. Look at the doctor and the nurse that is treating you. Now tell me how you feel about immigration. So it is that moment. And yet at the same time, I do think coming on the back of this, we might see these travel restrictions in place for a very long time.
Yeah.
Versions of them, selective applications of them. So it kind of feels like we might go in two directions. One of two directions.
It's like this. To me, I see it. There's moments where it could tap into the best of human nature or the worst of our tribalism. It could go one of two ways. So some days I'm more optimistic because this was the great equalizer. Both the prince and the pauper can get COVID. There's something
it's biblical.
Equal about that. And then there's something terrifying about when you find out in local grocery stores, people are hoarding meat and supplies and N95 masks, that it taps into a fear that I have of, oh, it's only just begun. This idea of securing borders is going to be something that people quadruple down on.
Yeah, there might be that. On a personal level, lads, how are you guys coping right now? How are you finding it being cooped up in the house? Obviously, we're not going through anything compared to the people who are sick and people who are treating people sick. I know there's a lot of people that are also just at home, kind of working out what their role is in this, just trying to deal with this on a mental health level. Like, how are you guys coping? I know, guys, obviously your hands are full with all 11 of your children. Well, Hasan, you just had a newborn, bro. Like, what?
What's
that like having a newborn baby in COVID?
Man, it's crazy. He was like the baby born into this madness, right?
Is that hopeful? What does that feel like?
Yeah, to me, like he represents, it brought out all the fear and anxiety as a parent that you feel like so viscerally. But then he also represents like a new hope, that, we're going to make it through this and this is going to be wild times. Also, he doesn't even know what the hell's going on. He's just eating and shitting all the time. So we just got to get through it.
Bro, you know what?
Guys, what are you saying, bro?
Mighty, listen, I'm trying not to have any more kids, bro.
Yeah.
That's really
that's the
stuck now.
No, for real, man. For real. There's gonna be a lot of Corona babies born out of this.
You got me, blood. Four is enough. I'm an individual. We're talking about mental health, and I don't do great on my own. So ironically, this is a great scenario for me. I love to be around people. I'm surrounded by the kids. They are fucking up the house. They are fucking up. Everything's fucking broken and smashed, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So providing I've got the people around me, that's most important. I am having a very hard time at the moment because I'm disconnected from Lumbu. And if anyone knows who I am, they're going to be aware of who Lumbu is. And it feels like we've been separated for a fucking lifetime. I miss you dearly, Lumbu, and I can't wait till we are sharing a single bed in Premier Inn once again.
Perfect. All right, wicked. So you're feeling good, like being at home and that. But are you guys trying to use this time to be productive, or are you just trying to get through the day? Because I personally go back and forth. I'm trying to be like, yo, now's the time to, be productive. And to be honest, like,
My G, I ain't doing shit. Every day I wake up, I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm gonna fucking write that next level script there. Let me put it out. Bro, I ain't doing shit. I'm shooting BB guns with the kids in the garden. I'm swearing at two of the neighbors. I threw a brick in the allotment today. Bro, I'm having the most immature fucking time of my life since I became a father. That's incredible, bro. I ain't doing shit.
I love it. Hasan, you just basically changing nappies.
Yeah, that's it, bro.
I love that.
But I do miss structure, man. I do miss going to the office. I miss, you know what I mean? Production, we had to put it on hold. I miss everybody that I work with. I miss the writers, I love going.
When are things looking to resume, Has?
Bro, who knows? When is labor going to get back into the workforce? I don't know. I'm trying to get back into the workforce. I'm trying to go to a place.
Is it really like that, bro? Like, there's no tip off, like, okay, we might.
Ooh. How? What? Like, everybody is in self-quarantine mode right now, social distancing. This is like,
for example, in the UK, there's early grumblings of, so no one's going to school right now in the UK, but there are early grumblings from, heads of the DFE and stuff that, school should be resuming for that next term. So come September. So as an early point, they're talking about September. But bro, you make a huge point, and which is our industry, the one all three of us work in, is a bloody finish. Close down, fuck off.
I mean, to be honest, like, there are ways that our industry can adapt as well with, online technology. Look what we're doing now. I'm making
a lot
of money off this live stream. Sorry, you should have read the contract. But this whole idea of like, I think a lot of people are hurting, man. Yeah, there's a lot of people are going to be in a really tough position. I think this is going to be an argument for universal basic income.
For sure.
After this, I think people are going to be like, what economy? Like, capitalism can't save you when the shit hits the fan. Like, we're all in it together. We're all humans. We need a safety net. Let's do this. Weirdly, though, I think having universal basic income will make it a stronger argument to give away more civil liberties. To, if you look at governments that already give people, like in the Gulf and stuff, they just give you 50 grand for having a kid. Those are the governments that say, yo, why do you need representation? You don't have taxation.
How much did he give you?
Bruv, you need to move to Qatar and get
someone like 200 bills.
Imagine with all the kids you got, bro.
Yeah.
Hey.
50 bags.
All right, lads, come on. We're gonna wrap this up now. I just want to say, give us one recommendation of something that people should watch or check out while they're at home, bored out their minds, anxious, worried, depressed.
I've got two suggestions. One is The Patriot Act by a fella called Hasan Minhaj, pretty fucking sexy geezer. And Four Lions by a movie called Chris Morris and this fella called Riz Ahmed. Fucking incredible bits of television. And before we go, I want to say, bro, where I came from, fellas don't usually do it. They don't usually big each other up in this way. But Hasan, I want to say you are a fucking incredible comedian. You're an incredible artist. And you make me proud every day when I see you doing your thing.
Thank
Riz,
you, bro.
Riz, you are that chance meeting. I believe in Qadr. I believe Allah brings people together for a reason. All them years ago when I was up to a madness and you were spitting bars for like 13 quid in the Students' Union, bro. It's full circle. We came back together. That shit can't even pay for a train ticket. We came back together again. And I want to thank you, bro, for being a beacon in this industry. you could easily keep shagging, what's her name, Kate Hudson in all these movies and making that money there. But bruv, listen, you keep it real. So as well as enjoying this you keep it real as fuck, and you are my brothers from now and forever. Anything you need, I'm here. And just thank you for being you too, honestly.
Much love.
Love you. Yo, long goodbye. Stream it and watch the short film. For real. Firing.
Love you, boys, man. Love you, boys. Guys, if you haven't checked out Patriot, check it out now. This guy's a fucking, excuse me with the language, I've had some comments. This guy's an absolute genius and so brave. If you haven't checked out Man Like Mobeen, it is our Atlanta. It is the show that I always wished existed, and it finally does. Please check these guys out. I hope everyone's staying safe, staying home, staying indoors. The reason we're doing these programs is so you don't feel like you've got to go out. Stay at home. We'll bring you the entertainment. Stay safe. Much love. Peace.
Peace.
Bye. Thank you.